Hello and welcome to a writing related video. This one is going to be a bit different. In this video I will state what my goals were for 2025 and whether I met them or not, and I will also list my goals for this year 2026. I usually plan the following year at the end of the previous year or the year I'm at. I tend to sit down and look at my goals for the year before it ends and then reflect on my goals and what my goals should be for the following year, and then I make my goals or prepare my goals for the year to come. But this time I didn't have time to do that, so I just went along and then did what I needed to do, and then I knew that I wasn't going to make my goals for 2025. I got this little black book. I do a spread, or what it's called. I have my goals on 2 pages, and then for the following 2 pages I reflect on the goals that I had for that year, and then on the next 2 pages I do my goals for that year, and then the next 2 ones after that I reflect on those goals, etc. So that's what I usually do, but earlier today, before I recorded this, I sat down and looked at what my goals for 2025 were and what I actually managed to get done. I haven't gotten around to filling in those pages with my reflections for 2025 yet, and I haven't stated my goals in this little black book for 2026 yet, but I will get to that at some point, I hope. So I'm a bit late at filming this, as we're already about halfway through February 2026, but I figured that it's better late than never, so here we are. I've been busy with these big picture edits for Project Katrina lately, and now that that is finally done, I can focus on something else, and now I finally had the time to, or the opportunity to sit down and actually reflect on my past goals and what my goals will be for 2026. And now to the goals I had in 2025. I normally have 4 things I'd like to work on each year, and those things are fitness, health, writing, editing, and reading. I haven't been doing that well on these 4 different kinds of goals these past few years, but I think that 2025 was especially bad, at least overall. In relation to the fitness and health goal, I have talked a bit about it in one of my earlier writing related videos, I think, but I won't go into detail with it because that is not the focus of my channel. But I can say that my plan for 2025 was to lose some weight, but instead I actually gained a little. My weight fluctuates, but it goes up and down, but when the year ended I had gained 0.8 kilograms, and that is about 1.8 pounds. So it could have been worse, but it could also have been better. My goal was to lose weight and not gain weight, so I didn't reach that goal, unfortunately. Regarding writing, that is the main purpose of my channel in terms of writing and writing related things, but editing is also quite important to me. But in terms of writing, my goal for 2025 was to write 5 novels. Those are full drafts from scratch. I didn't meet that goal, unfortunately, but I did do something toward my goal for 2025, as I wrote 2 novels. And one of them was an entire novel, and that is Project Auras of Faith/Fate. And the other novel I finished up something, and that is a novel in Danish that I finished the last few chapters of at the beginning of 2025, but I count that as a goal or toward my goal for 2025, even though I wrote most of that novel in 2024. But I counted it toward my goal in 2025, but I didn't count it in 2024, so I think it balances things out. So I don't register something as reaching my goal or getting closer to a goal 2 times. Only in the year that I finish up something I will count it. Regarding the project Auras of Faith/Fate, if you're interested, you can watch or follow along on that drafting process, and that is in Writing Vlogs 2 to 8. You can also find my playlist that's called Project Auras of Faith/Fate. It should be named exactly that here on my channel. This thing about not counting something toward my goals until it's done, that goes for editing and reading as well. Regarding my editing goals for 2025, my goal was also to do 5. I had been a bit optimistic, I think, that I thought I could write 5 novels from scratch and edit 5 others, or do 5 rounds of edits. So that's a bit too much, I think, because I didn't reach this goal either. My goal was 5, and I did 2, and that is the same for the writing goal I had. I count 2 of the editing rounds I did for Project Katrina as 2 separate ones, because the first round was a read-through where I made notes and comments, and I made scribbles directly in the... I don't think I did that on paper though, so it must have been the second read-through, but I did a full read-through where I made notes for myself and tried to make or made a new outline for the story. And then I did a full read-through once more to implement all of these bigger changes. In the first read-through I did for my YouTube channel, I focused on both small and big changes. I have marked smaller things I want to change as well, and I have fixed most of that in this read-through where I focused on the big changes, but I will get to do the smaller edits when I read through the novel one more time. But it was 2 full read-throughs and or editing processes, so I count those as the 2 times I did it. Both rounds were for the same project, but I think that in order to not discourage myself, I want to count every editing round I do for a project, because otherwise I will just, if it doesn't count, then I will leave that be, and then I will do something else that does count toward my goal. So I think it's important that I give myself the credit for doing a round of edits, so that I can get closer to my goal, but also closer to getting a draft fully done. So it's not just the first or second draft, but the 5th or 6th or 7th or whatever it is draft it will be. So it's finally done. That first round of edits I did for Project Katrina is something you can watch and follow along with here on my YouTube channel. And those are Writing Vlogs 9 to 15. And this second round of edits I did also for Project Katrina was in Writing Vlogs 18 through Writing Vlog 38. So 18 to 38 for the second one. My reading goals for 2025 were 12 novels or just books. It doesn't need to be novels, aka stories or fiction work. It can be biographies or craft books or something else as well. Those 12 books I had set for myself as a reading goal for 2025 were intended to be 1 book a month, more or less. Sometimes I read more and sometimes I don't read that much, but I figured that I could at least do 1 per month on average. But that didn't pan out for me. I did read something in 2025, and that was 3 books, 2 novels and a game guide. The first book I read in 2025 was Sleeping Beauties by Stephen King and Owen King. It was an okay read. I actually still remember the story. Sometimes when I read a novel, I just forget about it shortly after, and then I go, what was that book about? I don't even remember. It's kind of like with my own novels. I tend to forget it after a while, but this novel has stuck with me, even though it's been a while since I finished reading that. I think I wrote in my small black book that I finished reading this Sleeping Beauties in the beginning of 2025, but I count it as toward my goal for 2025, even though I read most of it in 2024. But Sleeping Beauties was an okay read, and as I said, I can still remember the story. So Stephen King and Owen King must have done something right, as I can still remember it. As I said, sometimes I just forget stuff, and I forget the novels I read, and I also forget about stuff I write myself. The second book I read in 2025 was Blå. That's the Danish title. It's called Wool in English, and it's by Hugh Howey. It's the first book in the Silo series. I actually started reading the second book in the series in 2025, but I came to a still stand, and I have just been focusing on other things, and I didn't really progress with reading that novel. But I do plan on reading the rest of book 2 in the series, as well as book 3. So it might take me a while to get back to that series, and maybe I need to go back a bit and read some of what I have already read in the second book, because I forget things. But I picked up the book recently. I cannot show the book to you, as I borrowed it in digital format as an ebook. I could borrow it as an audiobook, as an alternative maybe, so I can do other things while I listen to it. But if I can, I tend to favor reading books, because reading is reading. I count listening to audiobooks as reading as well, though, but that has the advantage that I can multitask and do other things. For example, fold laundry or do the dishes while I listen. But with the Silo series, I would just like to sit down and actually read the rest of book 2 and all of book 3, so I have all of the story completed in my head. I began reading the first book because I found out that it's a TV series. I actually watched the TV series with my boyfriend, and I like that TV series a lot. And then when I noticed that it was based on books, then I wanted to read those books. So the TV series is a bit different than the books, but the story is the same in general. They have changed a few things to make it work better, maybe. I like the TV series better than the book series, but I like the book series as well. So I definitely tend to keep on reading that series. And then the third and last book I read all of, or the end of. I did read all of it in 2025. Not like the Sleeping Beauties book, where I just finished up reading it at the beginning of 2025. But the third and last book I read in 2025 was this Horizon Forbidden West game guide. I like that book a lot as well. It's not a story that you read, but it's still words, and it's still a book. It's in physical form, and it's on Goodreads, and so I have added it when I bought it to my want to read list. And when I finished reading it, I marked it as read and it counts toward my reading goal for 2025. If you're interested, you're welcome to add me as a friend or acquaintance on Goodreads. My username there is TassieDK, as here on YouTube. This game guide is pretty thick, and it's also a large print. It's a very big book, and so it's not that handy to sit with and read. And so I needed to sit at a desk or at a table and have it on the table and read it. Then it's not that easy to hold up and then sit and read for hours. But it took me a bit of time to get through the game guide, because I read a few pages here and there are many pages in the book, and so I didn't finish it in a month or two, but I think I read it over the course of 6 months or so. And I didn't really read anything else alongside that, well, except maybe for a bit of the silo books that I didn't really get to complete. This immense book, The Game Guide, could maybe be counted as several books because the word count in it has to be very high, but I'm not counting it as more books than one. But even if I did, I still wouldn't have reached my reading goal, so it doesn't matter. And now to my goals for 2026. Regarding fitness and health, my goal is still to lose weight. I have to be a bit more active and watch what I eat. Shortly before Christmas, I stopped counting calories because I figured that if I just eat what I want and then register what I ate, then it doesn't really make any difference, that I might as well not register anything if I eat what I want anyway. Despite my lack of self-discipline, I guess you can say, I only gained less than 1 kilo in the previous year. I hope that I will manage to keep my weight in check even though I don't count calories anymore. If my weight increases more than it has done before, then I will start counting calories again. But maybe it's all about the mental aspect of it. Regarding this goal, I think I have been a bit too optimistic maybe before. I would rather not set a specific goal for myself for what I want to weigh at the end of 2026, but I just have to keep my mental approach to this in check and then be stricter with myself. But enough about that. Regarding my writing goal, I think I have been a bit too optimistic there as well. With everything I've got going on, I don't think that I will be able to write 5 novels as my goal was for the previous year, so I will decrease my goal for 2026 to 3 novels. I'm hoping to start the first draft of a new novel here in 2026, and I hope it will be soon. When I do, it will be here on my YouTube channel in my usual writing vlogs. And about editing. My goal for 2025 was 5 as for the writing goal, but as for my writing goal, I will decrease my goal for editing as well in 2026, and I think I should be able to do 3 full rounds of edits, whether that's just a read-through where I make notes and comments for myself, or whether I actually implement the changes that I want to make. As I have said before, I count both types of editing rounds as a round toward my goal. As I said for the 2025 goal recap, I did do 2 rounds of edits in 2025. I think I should be able to do more than that. I certainly don't hope that I will only do 2 or maybe less than 2 in 2026. If I set my goal too high, it's okay. It's just too bad if I don't reach my goal, but I would rather set a goal maybe that's a bit too high or very high. If I set it too high, then I will give up, I think. But if I set the goal a bit higher than what I think I should be able to achieve, then I will do my best to try and reach that goal. And if I fail reaching that exact goal, then I will still have made some progress. I think it's better to set a goal, period, because if I don't set goals for myself, then I will just procrastinate and then I will get nothing done. That's what I fear, at least. And about reading. I feel like I should be reading more, especially as a writer myself. But I just tend to favor other things. For example, doing YouTube, gaming for my YouTube channel, and writing and doing writing vlogs and watching other people's videos and other things like that. But when I have some time to read, I don't bother picking up my phone and going in and finding the book that I'm reading or should be reading and then make a bit of progress and then have to go back in and find where I was, because it's not always the case that it saves where I was when I ended it in the previous session. Maybe the app that I use isn't the best for it, but I use bookmarks, so I should be able to hop to that bookmark but that requires that I actually remember to put bookmarks where I have been. But the problem is also that I didn't get to complete reading that novel, the book 2 in the Silo series, before it was automatically returned, and when I borrow it again, I have to go in to the app, open the book that I borrowed, and then find the place I ended the last time, and hopefully read farther than that. But every time I don't get to read anything and it goes back. It all happens automatically. But this process of me finding the book again and then going in and finding where I was and then having to remember that and go back in and actually read so I can get a few pages ahead and then make a bookmark there, and yeah, it's just a hassle. So it has been easier for me to just pick up this game guide that has been lying on my table ready for me to read. I just had it open on the page I was at, and then I could just sit down and read a few pages and then walk away. In 2025 I didn't read as much as I wanted to, but it's all right, I think. I read a bit here and there, and over time it adds up, and I think it's better than reading nothing at all. Regarding my new reading goal for 2026, I definitely don't think I will be able to read 12 books, which is one per month on average. So I will lower my goal. My reading goal for 2025 was 12, and I managed to do 3. So there's a big difference in that. I don't think I will be able to read 1 book a month on average, and so I will lower my goal. I just updated my goal on Goodreads, and as far as I remember, I set it to 8. It's not 12, but it's not very low either. I think I should be able to reach that goal of reading 8 novels or books a year. It should be manageable, especially if I borrow audiobooks and then I can listen to stories or other books while I do other things. If I just need to use my hands for doing chores, then I can listen to that while I work. So I might as well listen to a story or another book instead of listening to music. So if I can read physical books that I have on my TBR list, as well as listen to audiobooks, or maybe just get farther with those Silo books, then I will make progress toward my goal. I think 8 books should be manageable for 2026, but we'll see. Well, that were my goals for 2025 and my goals for 2026. Hopefully you liked getting to hear about what I managed to do in the past year and what I plan on doing in the coming year, or the coming year. It's already here. It's, as I said earlier, we're already about halfway through February 2026, so I don't have that much time left to get things done. But of course, the things I have managed to do so far this year will be counted toward the goals in 2026, as I didn't count the things that I finished up this year for the previous year. If I don't get to finish something up before a year ends, then it's just too bad. Then I will have to wait until that part of the goal can be counted in the year when I finish it up. But yes, that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will watch other of my videos. Until next time, take care. Thank you for watching.